When I was explaining on the other TikTok video that I made about the civilizations of the Anunnaki, I made it very clear that the word itself, the Anunnaki, and its entirety of what it represents is in two particular forms. Okay, the explanation is in two particular forms. When you are explaining it from one particular concept, because they are always making you understand that Anunnakis are extraterrestrials or aliens that came from different planet into this particular planet. Okay, they were the architect creation of human beings, and then they left at certain point. Okay, that particular story is something that you need to decode deeply to understand. When it comes to what the Anunnaki really is, inside of your own being, this particular information is represented from where they came from to where they came and first settled in ancient Mesopotamia. You have to understand it from the inside of yourself. Then the outside representation of them telling you that they came here will be much, much easier for you to understand. Okay? Every form of story that you've ever been told, okay? Every form of story that you've ever been told, okay? Let's say this is a coin, okay? This is a coin. This is a representation of a coin. This is a representation of a coin. Now, when you turn the coin like this, you are going to get the left part of the coin like this. When you turn the coin that way, you are going to get the right part of the coin. Okay, so this becomes the left part of the coin, and this becomes the right part of the coin. But together as a whole, they all represent what the coin is. Okay? The coin has two sides to it. A coin always have a left side, which is either representation of the heads, or the left side or the right side representation of what the tails are. So this is what a coin is. So when it comes to the story of what the Anunnaki is, you have to understand it in this particular simple manner. If you are seeing it from one particular point, then the understanding is going to elude you. You are just listening to stories and then believing in certain things that is very simple for you to understand once you begin to put your mind to it. Okay? So the coin here is one. The coin here is one. When you turn the coin to the left side, that is where you are going to get the heads. Okay. And when you turn it to the other side, that is where you are going to get the tails. So a coin on the left side has a tail, and on the right side has a coin. When it comes to the Anunnaki, from the creation or from the manifestation of who Anu is, okay, I'm talking from the third triad. Okay, the third triad. I'm talking from the third triad. There were two extra triads before the third triad came into being. Okay, there were two extra triads, and the first triad mostly isn't considered as a triad simply because it represents the beginning itself. Okay, so when it comes to the second triad, that is where the birth or the beginning of who the great grandfathers of Anu is. So when you are talking about the second triad, then you are coming down to the representation of who Tiamat and then Apsu is. Okay, when you are coming to the second triad, you are talking about the representation of Tiamat and then the representation of Apsu. They are all from the same coin, but different sides, like the left side of the coin and then the right side of the coin. That is what this particular information means. So from the second triad existed Tiamat and then Apsu. From Tiamat and Apsu came Ansha, Laamu, and then Lamu. Okay, from Laamu to Lamu, the left side to the right side, Laamu, Lamu. And from Laamu and then Lamu came the creation of Kisha and then Ansha. Kisha and then Ansha, the left and then the right. Okay, is this explanation understandable? Is it slow enough? Before the third triad exists the second triad. And within the second triad, the first one to came into being was Laamu, okay? And then on the other side is Lamu. This is L. Okay. Laamu and then Lamu. One on the left side and one on the right side. Creation itself exists on the middle. From the very beginning, Laamu and Lamu When you are taking it upwards, then from this particular side will represent Tiamat as a representation of the salty waters. Okay? And on the right side, you will get Apsu. Okay? As a representation of the fresh waters. So it's always salty water, fresh water. It's always up as representation of La'amu, and then La'mu as down. And then you go from there, then you get to Kinsha, and then you get to Ansha. Okay, so from Kisha and then Ansha came the creation of Anu. Okay, so these particular three of them form the second triad. When they are talking about a triad, they are talking about a triangle. Okay, they are talking about a triangle. A triangle is a triad, three. Okay, the representation of three. On this particular side is Tiamat. On this particular side is La'amu. On this particular side is Ansha. Okay, so these particular three beings existed as the first primordial essence when it comes to representation of the first or the second triad. Okay, from the beginning popped out these particular creations. When you are looking at it from a particular point of civilization, the people that represented Tiamat, that represented Ansha, that represented La'amu and the La'mu is a representation of the black race or the black people. Okay, the 9 etheric people, the dark melanated beings. Okay, the dark melanated beings. That was the form that you picked. You picked a hue. Okay, a human form. You pick a color form. You descended from the highest form of what color is as the first primordial essences of Tiamat, La'amu, and then Ansha. That is the first triad. The Holy Trinity, this is where it started from. Do you understand? So from this particular Holy Trinity came the second Holy Trinity or the third Holy Trinity that is a representation of Anu, Enlil, and then Enki. Okay? All right. So when it came to the second triad as a representation of these particular people, okay, they killed this particular triad. The second triad, okay, betrayed this Absu. This is fresh water. This is salty water. Okay. So what happened was that this particular triad, the second triad, or the ones that you represent them like this, okay, you represent them like this. Whether you are putting the triangle up or you are putting the triangle down, the triangle has no specific sphere. That is why it is a triangle. When you turn it from this side, if you turn it from this side going all the way to this side, okay, this becomes the top. If it is going all the way from there to this side becomes the top. So it's like the yin yang, like me explaining here. There is no specific point when it comes to what the triangle is. Okay, when it comes to the distribution of power, this was where Anu is. Anu is the middle. Okay, Anu is the middle. So from Ansha and then Kisha came the creation of Anu. Okay, came the manifestation of Anu. And when it comes to you as Kala, someone that is descending from the higher levels of consciousness, when you come down a bit, okay, let's say in the very beginning, your consciousness was at a vibrational frequency of 99.9, okay? Your vibrational frequency was 99.9, okay? This is your first vibrational frequency when you move out of the void. Okay, so from this particular vibration, when you go down, when La'amu and then La'mu was created, their consciousness became at the level of 83.4. Okay, so La'mu and then La'amu were at this particular vibrational frequency. And from them came Kisha and then Ansha. So their vibration too went down and they ended up leaving them with somewhere 63.8. Okay, so the lower that you go, the matter or the physical material representation that you become, the more that you lose the consciousness of the entire collectivity or being part of the entire collectivity. This particular memory is being saved. Okay, you are still connected to 8.83.4. They are still connected to 99.9, but at that particular level, they get a new variety of ideas. Okay. At that particular level, they are going to be getting a new understanding, a new profound discovery of what this particular world is, of what this particular creation is. Okay. So from the very beginning of knowing everything, immediately you begin to pick a particular form. Your level of consciousness, you understanding that, okay, this particular board is white. Okay. It's white and then it is 4 feet tall or it is 5 feet tall. Immediately that you begin to descend into matter, okay, you are going to start asking yourself, is this 4 feet or is it 4.1 or is it 3.9 or is it 4.2? You are no longer sure of what this particular measurement is. You are no longer sure if it is just white or there's some part of it that is black or there's some part of it that is green or yellow. Do you understand? So when you started from the highest form, immediately that you descended, you changed a vibrational frequency so that your level of consciousness when it comes to light. Okay, so these elder gods, when they came down, when they started descending down into consciousness, they forgot, they begin registering new method of understanding this particular world. Okay, so from this particular trait, okay, from the representation of Tiamat and then Apsu, came down all the way to Kisha and then Ansha, and then ended up with what? Laamu and then Lamu, and then ended up with Kisha and then Ansha. That is the last three. This is the three triad of the beginning. Okay, so from this particular three triad came the creation of Anu. Okay, so Anu became the fourth. So instead of 63.8, Anu ended up with somewhere 43.2. Okay. Anu's consciousness ended up in somewhere 43.2. Okay. Anu's consciousness ended up with this particular level, 43.2. So on this particular level, Anu too had new ideas. Okay. Anu had ideas. Anu had principles. He wanted to understand his world, where he is, how he found this. If you add water plus this, what is it going to create? Okay, if I send this particular frequency, it's going to take this amount of time to reach at that particular end. If I speak to this person, it's going to vibrate like this. If I react to this, it's going to turn like this. Okay, it's like a chart. Okay, but their consciousness was much higher than you being today. Okay, so Anu became the frequency of 43.2. So at this particular vibrational frequency, Anu also came Enlil and then Enki. Okay, Enlil was like me telling you about the coin. The right side or the left side of the coin became Enlil. Okay, so Enlil became the negative opponent, and then Enki became the positive charge. Okay, so when you combine the negative charge and then the positive charge, you are going to get the middle, which is Marduk. Okay, when you combine the negative and then the positive, you are going to get Anu, you are going to get Marduk, you are going to get Tiamat. Okay, so it's always the left part. It's always Kisha and then Ansha. When you add Kisha plus Ansha, you are going to end up getting Tiamat. Okay, when you add Laamu and then Lamu, you are going to end up getting Tiamat. When you add Tiamat and then Apsu, you are going to end up getting the oneness of what the beginning of creation itself is. Okay, so it is from that particular one creation that everything begins to split, everything begins to take form. Do you understand? So from that particular level, no, Enlil here is a representation of the storm. Okay, the description of Enlil is the storm god, the god of the storms, the god of the winds, the god that is able to move between matter, the interactions of matter. To put this very simply, okay, the way in which Enlil is described, Anu is at this particular frequency of 43.2. Okay. When Enlil manifested, Enlil picked a particular form, somewhere 32.4. Okay. This became Enlil's frequency. Okay, so from Anlele also break down is the same thing as Enki. So Enki on this particular level also became like 33.5. Okay, the 33.5 because he inherited the 1% from the father of himself, like from Apsu. Okay, he inherited a will from Apsu, but the curiosity was inherited from Anu. Okay, I took the time to explain this when the representation of it in a natural phenomena. Okay, I took the time and then I explained it the last life that we had. I explained it very carefully what these particular gods, when it comes to the beginning form of creation, you manifesting into matter until this particular physical earth came into being. I took the time and then I explained it. Today, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Okay? The more you understand the information, the easier it is for me to sink deeply. Okay? All right. Why does the gods matter if the kingdom is within? Hey. Some of you, I don't understand your level of understanding, no? Charlie. Okay. Why does it matter with the gods if the kingdom of heaven is within? What I'm describing, you weren't here on the life that I was talking about, were you? Huh? Were you on the last life? Okay. The process that you took before you became a semen, before you became physical baby, started mitosis and then meiosis inside of the vertices or inside the delivery canal of the divine feminine. I explained that the last time. Okay. So it is still the same energy that created you in a physical manner, just like the way this world came into being. This world didn't just started as matter or as a physical representation. No. Everything begins with the spirit. Everything. Okay? Everything that you say matter, matter comes from spirit. Matter is a condensed form of spirit. Like me telling you that when you begin to reduce in frequency, that is you becoming matter. Okay, so the kingdom within is the you starting from the very point of everything else. Okay, if I tell you that, can you see or can you be able to understand the emotions that usually comes when you are about to ejaculate? Okay, you tell me that it's a feeling that is like no other feeling inside of this world. If I tell you to describe it, how are you going to describe it? Will you find enough words, okay, to be able to describe that particular moment for me? I'm asking you, answer me. Okay. If I tell you to describe that particular orgasm, if you're a woman, or that particular ejaculation, if you're a man, that particular feeling that you usually feel, if I tell you to explain that to me, okay, would you find the words to explain it in its fullest form for me to understand? Yes, I'm in Ghana. I'm a Ghanaian. Okay. Okay. So that is how it is. That particular feeling is the beginning. Before, you were just normal, you were just living normally. But when you begin to have the interaction with the divine feminine, when you begin to play with the divine feminine, the negative and then the positive, you were neutral. Okay, you weren't just having orgasm or ejaculation anyway. You were calm, you were composed, you were simplified. By merely you begin to react with the divine feminine, it created an electric pulse. And this particular phenomenon is what the soul is. So you cannot understand yourself entirely until you are able to go inside. Okay? What is spirit is spirit. What is flesh is flesh. So for spirit to go back into flesh, it needs to reduce itself. And for flesh to become spirit, it needs to elevate itself. That is what born again is. When you are physically manifested into this particular world, when you came from spirit and then you became matter, if you forget what it means for you to be the spirit, you must be baptized. You must go under baptism. And baptism is about you going back into the salty waters. You need to go back just like the way you came out of sperms as a seaman. You need to go back into the sea. And going back into the sea means that you need to delve inside, because 80 to 90% of your body is made up of salt water. Do you understand? 80 to 90% of your body is made up of salt water. So you need to go back on the inside, just like a child. Unless ye is as children, you will never see nor enter into the kingdom of heaven. So you are not baptizing the flesh. You are baptizing the soul that exists within the flesh. Do you understand? So when you go back into that particular ocean, you are going back for renewal. You are going back to renew the soul. You are not renewing the mind, which is the physical manifestation of you wanting things, physical desires. You are letting go of those particular physical desires that you are chasing, and then bringing your attention back. Okay? You are bringing your attention back to being a child. When you look at a child, how does a child behave like? Okay. They behave like they don't care about anything, because by the end of the day, they are going to eat, they are going to sleep. Whether their parents is going to go up or down, a child will always remain a child. So the soul is a child. Most of you are the ones that are subjecting it to the pain that it is feeling inside of this world, because of the ignorance and the separation from you from the spirit. Because you've forgotten that you are the spirit before you became matter, you are so attached to what is material that disconnected you from who the spirit is. Do you understand what I'm saying? So those of you that are trying to push me forward before I get there, calm down. Where did the Anunnaki pass and came? Where did the sperm pass and enter into the uterus of the divine feminine? Huh? Where did the sperm pass and then entered into the fertile grounds of the divine feminine? This world is a divine feminine. So where did they pass and came? Where did you pass as a sperm cell before you got into the uteruses of your mother? You passed through the sea. That is exactly where they passed. Okay? So from Anu came the creation of Enlil and then Enki. Okay. So the first triad is what I also said. I made very mention that the first triad, or the ones that were there before Anu came into being, is what the dark skin are. Okay. The dark skin. Is what the dark skin are. Okay. So from the creation of this particular world, you manifested first as a human, color that has descended. From the darkness, you begin to pick color. So that particular color that you started picking is all the vibrations that are reflecting the level of what melanin is inside of your own being. Okay. When they are talking about melanin, they are talking about the production of what comes in the middle. Okay. They are talking about what comes in the middle. A mother and then a father, African mother, African father, giving birth to that particular baby is what melanin is. Negative, positive, give birth to the Christ consciousness. Okay. Mary and then Joseph. And them telling you that Joseph wasn't married to Mary. We'll get there, you understand the story completely. Okay. For you to understand Mary's story, you have to get this particular thing very simply first. Okay. You need to understand the representation of who Anu is. Okay. You have to understand who Anu is. If you understand who Anu is, the story of Mary, you are going to understand it very easily. Because when it comes to representation of who Yeshua is, Yeshua existed, but he wasn't as the way that they tell you that he is. Okay. It's still a prophecy in the making. Okay. It is still a prophecy in the making. 90% of Jesus' story is still a prophecy in the making. It isn't something that passed or something that never happened. No, it is something that is still in creation form. It is happening. Do you understand? So before we even get to that one, talking about Jesus, we have to go back to Noah. Noah and then everything exists at this particular story. Before we even come down to Madu, before we come down to the Israelites, before you come down to your shredded traditions or your shredded languages, when you begin to pick different things, we'll come to that. Okay, so calm down and let's take things easily. So from the very beginning of the first titans, okay, what you call the first beings of creation, Tiamat is the mother of all creation. Listen to this. A man cannot exist without a woman. Okay? A man will never be able to exist without a woman. Even the ones that they created inside laboratory. Okay? They need the salty waters of creation to manifest a soul. They need the salty waters of creation. You are never into this world without the divine feminine. That is something that is natural. There is nothing beyond that. Do you understand? Women carry the crown because they represent the crown. They represent the divine essence through which you come into this world. So Mary is always adored more than Jesus because Mary is the mother. Okay? Mary is the representation of the Virgin Mother, Tiamat. Tiamat and Apsu, they never had sex. I told you. I told you this. It's filtration of water. When water begins to go into a different level, like seawater, when it flows into rivers, rivers becomes drinkable. But seawater isn't drinkable. You can't drink seawater. Do you understand? So that particular separation of consciousness, that is what Jesus and then Mary is. Mary is seen as the mother of all, as a representation of the earth. Through her, every man came into being. Every man. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when it comes to this particular story, okay, from the very beginning itself, the ones that manifested first in a human form is what you call the black people or the nine etheric people, the dark-skinned. Okay, you were the first to manifest inside of this particular reality that you call Earth. Okay, you were first to manifest here. Your manifestation wasn't just like any other manifestation inside of this world. They will tell you in the Egyptian pantheon that Osiris and then Set cut Osiris into 15 pieces and then scattered him all across the world. Then the earth picked up Osiris and then gave him body. Do you understand? You weren't born like one mother giving birth, and then after that, a father will come and choke again, and then you go and give birth. After that, a father will come and choke again, and then you give birth. That wasn't how it is. Okay. Your materialization is something that I have to take the time to explain for you to understand. But the melanin content inside of your own being is what is differentiating you from a human and then a human. Okay. Okay. The melanin content inside of your body is what is differentiating this particular human from this particular human. Okay. This particular human has more of what melanin is. Melanin is you understanding the middle. You are always in the middle. Okay. The coin, like I told you, the coin is always in the middle. The coin is one. But if you flip the coin, that is when you get heads. And when you flip it again, that is when you get tails. But the coin is one. The coin is one. Okay, so before the coin is turned into this or it's turned into that, the coin originally is one. So this particular human, the middle part of yourself is Anu. Anu is the one that gave birth to the heads and then the tails, or the tails and then the heads, the negative and then the positive. Do you understand? So these particular gods, when they are explaining it to you, I want you to understand it very simply because they are always exaggerating the story. They are working on your imaginative ability. Okay, they are allowing you to imagine something outward of yourself when you don't understand that everything from the outside came from the inside. It came from the inside. The world didn't manifest outside and started registering itself on the inside. No, it started from the inside and then manifested itself to the outside. And when it became outside, then it forgot that it came from the inside. That is what I explained about reduction in consciousness. You understand this important? Yes. Okay. All humans have a soul. Let me make that very simple. Every human, including everyone that was grown inside of a laboratory, and 90% of the Israelites were grown inside of a laboratory. 90% of the Israelites were grown inside of a laboratory. I will come deeply into that. But every human possesses a certain percentage of solar essence. If you don't have a soul, there is no way that you can exist inside of this world. The soul is the middle part of the coin, like I'm telling you. The soul is what is holding the left side and then the right side. Everything that you call matter, okay, it is always in matter, or it is only in matter that you have a negative self and you have a positive self. Okay, but as the spirit, as the center of the coin, you are neither positive nor negative. You are neutral. Okay, so the soul is the neutral point. You need to have a neutral point in order to manifest reality, in order to become real. Okay, so all those clones out there, okay, they are telling you simply that they don't have souls, but they have souls. You can suppress the energy of the soul and then tend to either choose negativity or positivity. That depends entirely on you. But making the understanding very simply is the fact that when you choose to oppress your positivity and then become more negative, then that is where you are going to begin exhibiting symptoms of negligence of soul growth. Okay, which is the main reason why you manifested into this particular world in the first place. But the people that genetically engineered you, the people that genetically brought you from mother's oceans, they think that they own you. So by the way of them thinking that they own you, they know that if I create you, then I become your God. If I create you inside of the lab, then you become mine, and I have the rights to tell you what to do and tell you what not to do. That is what happened inside of the garden. Okay. That is exactly what happened inside of the garden. So if your solar essence is reduced, if your solar feeling, instead of you being inside of this world and you are trying to amplify the energy of the soul by involving yourself in this particular experience and learning from it, you are rather punishing and then taking grief, taking pain of other people, then that is what kills the soul. But every human inside of this world possesses a soul. Okay? You have a soul. So from the creation of you, when they created you, what they wanted to do with you is for you to choose only the negative part of yourself. Okay. You as a melanated person, every single one, whether you are a white person, you are a pale skin, you are from the Nubians, you are from Kush, or you are from Anatolia, you are a Greek, you are a Caucasian, you are Ethiopian, you are an Arcadian. All of these particular people have a particular solar essence inside of them. Without the middle part of yourself, you cannot live in this place. You will just disintegrate. Okay. You will just turn back into matter. Nothing can hold you together. Okay, your body is held up by the soul. So if there's no soul inside of you, your body cannot hold. You can't exist. Okay, you can't exist. So the more that your soul is small, the more that you don't work on amplifying the energy of the soul, that is when you need outside satisfaction. That is when you need outside aesthetics. You need luxury. You need this. You need things that are of material in nature so that you can represent yourself. You can start wearing all these particular heavy kind of makeup to cover up the scars that are inside of your face. Instead of you actually directly dealing with the foods that you are eating, the lifestyle that you are living, the kind of waters that you are drinking, the thoughts that you allow inside of your own mind, and how you are experiencing your reality so that you can change it from the inside, because your cells build you up from the inside all the way to the outside. So instead of you to have this particular mind and start looking from the inside so that you can repair those cells on the outside and start looking beautiful again, you would rather choose to wear heavy makeup. And to get makeup, you need money. And to get money, you need to work. And to work, you don't have time for yourself. And when you don't have time for yourself, you are in the rat race. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. So every attribute that comes from the inside, it's not just about makeup. It's about you understand that you don't treat anything on the outside. You only treat it from the inside. And it is these humans that are trying to treat things on the outside instead of on the inside. They are trying to treat things on the outside. So every drug that was created was meant to keep them longer, was meant to give them certain kind of beautification. They are extracting the melanin from the human and then they are using it for these particular products. I don't want to go there right now. Right now, what I want you to understand simply, any role, anything that they tell you that there is a God outside there, there's a God worthy of you worshiping it, is a lie. Okay? Every form of God that exists outside there came from the inside. It exists inside of your own self. The highest form of creation inside of this world is a human being. Okay? The highest form of God's creation is a human being. Okay? So all these angels that they project them out there, all these gods that they project them out there, it is simply coming from the inside. They are using the inside to explain the outside. And most people wants the outside because the outside is what material is. That is why you ended up worshiping them. Most of you worship gods because of the material gain that you get from it. Okay, you are worshiping gods because you want life to be easier for you when you are not willing to understand what it means for life to be easier for you. Okay, so you kept destroying yourself, you kept going after things that is outside, you kept chasing things that are outside, and then you are killing the one that is on the inside. That is why you always take quick loan. You take quick loan of saviors. People that come to inform you, you take quick loan from them. Because you are actually feeling like as long as I depend on Jesus, nothing can go wrong inside of my life without even understanding what that Jesus is. Okay? You don't even understand who or what that Jesus actually is. And you are dependent on him simply because they tell you that is what it is. Then your expansion and your level of awareness, why you are here to be or why you are here to understand, what are you doing about that? Raising your soul is not important. Understanding your soul isn't important. As long as you always have someone that you can go and take quick loan from. Doesn't mind whether they are human beings or they are this. As long as you can take quick loan from them and then you don't pay back, you are okay. That is why you want saviors. That is why you want saviors. That is why you establish all these particular temples outside of yourself. That is the main reason. Because if you are going to think about it very deeply, you are the most greediest person inside of this world. You are very greedy. You are very selfish. If the person come and tell you that you need to go inside to learn the knowledge of self, and you actually feel like, no, I don't want to go inside. We never want to go inside. You don't want to go inside. You want to be on the outside so that you can keep doing what? You can keep subtracting his energy. You can keep stealing. And that's what you are doing. You see? So you become the devil. You need to understand. He was born just like you. You were all born from spirit. You were all human. You were all light that ascended and then descended. Do you understand? So he came and then he paved the way. He laid the bricks that when you practice, you also be able to connect with the light inside of your own self so that you can grow and then meet him in heaven. Okay? And they took that particular story, these particular three people. Okay? These particular three people took that particular story and then twisted it. Originally, it was normal, but when it got to this guy, okay, the guy that stole the name Jesus, when it got to this particular guy, this guy is the abomination of this world. Okay, this guy is the abomination of this world. So he stole the name because this particular name was given to him by Enki, Enlil, and then Anu. After he succeeded in killing Tiamat, they called him the son of the sun. Go and then you research on the 50 names of Marduk. Okay? Go and search on the 50 names of Marduk. Oppression of this world. Oppression of the blackheads. After Tiamat died, the blackheads became the slave. They became the cow. If you want to understand this information deeply, it is right inside of your books. It is encoded. Every ox that they talk about, okay, every bull that they talk about killing inside the Quran, inside the Bible, came from this particular guy. When they're telling you offer bulls, offer this, they are not talking about the physical representation of that particular bull. The blackheads became the bull. You became the workforce. You became the slaves. You became the slaves. And all these particular three people, these particular bloodlines, they are the ones ruling the world. And they are the ones currently fighting with each other. They are fighting with each other, trying to destroy this world. Simply because of a disagreement. These particular two families are saying that this particular middle family that is a direct descendant of Marduk. Okay, that this particular middle guy that is a direct descendant of Marduk, 90% of the Greeks that exist today are cloned. 90% of the Caucasians are cloned. 90% of Asians, Iranians, Anatolians, they are all cloned. Okay? 90% of them is cloned. And they are the ones ruling the world. Because of Marduk. Marduk made sure that Enlil, Enki, and then Anu surrendered their power to him. They surrendered all their power to him before he defeated the dark skin, before he defeated Tiamat. And after he defeated Tiamat, he became the supreme god. He took the place of Anu. He took the place of Tiamat. The blackheads that lost their memory became his slaves. Those were the Israelites that they talked to you about Pharaoh punishing them. He became Pharaoh. Marduk is Pharaoh. Yes, you can take screenshots, okay? Okay? Dunamis. None. If you want to understand the truth about religion, any religion that isn't telling you that the Christ consciousness is within your own self, any religion that isn't laying the bricks and letting you understand what your mental and then your physical slaved mind is, isn't serving Christ. Those particular people are serving Jesus. They are serving the flesh. They are serving Marduk. Those people are serving Marduk. You are waiting for a savior because you are waiting for Marduk. Marduk that enslaved this world. You are waiting for the same person to come and save you. So when you are talking about Christ, Christ is the one that exists in us all. When you are talking about Jesus, you are talking about the physical representation. And the physical representation is the one that this guy nailed to the cross. Like they tell you. Okay. The physical manifestation was these particular people. Marduk was the one, these particular bloodlines. They are the ones you call the Pharisees. They are the ones that nailed Christ. They are the one that nailed your consciousness. That separated the black consciousness into pieces. They are the ones that are benefiting off your suffering, taking everything from your land and giving you nothing and punishing you in addition. So any religion that isn't talking about how you can free the soul, how you can free the mind to connect yourself back to God, it's always telling you that the spirit is the highest form, and if you are not possessed by the spirit, you can't understand the word of God. That is just hypocrisy. That is pure hypocrisy. They themselves, they don't know because they are reading it from the book that was presented to them. But these particular people that killed Jesus, the same people that killed him, the same people that killed Yeshua, is the same people that took his information. You think they will bring you the truth about the Bible? The same people that destroyed the 9 etheric people, the black people. You think they are the ones to come and bring you the information for you to free yourself? Then what was the need for for them to imprison you in the first place? You need to think. Do you understand? They can present you the truth and tell you this is what Yeshua said. But Yeshua made it very clear that when you awaken the light inside of you, you will gain the understanding and then the wisdom to see through their illusions. You can see through their lies. You can see through all the distraction that they are happening. But most of you can't see that. You are thinking that, oh, this is just worldly materials that is happening. This is just a worldly affair between people. No, people that own you. People that think that they own your rights. People that think that they own your soul. That you cannot do anything, you cannot say anything unless they tell you to. Whatever it is that they tell you to do, you must do it. If you don't do it, then you'll be punished. That is the way of Marduk. That is the principle of Marduk. That was how Marduk ruled. Do you understand? It isn't just the scriptures. Marduk changed everything from the heavens. How you used to connect yourself, because most of you don't understand the deepest context of what the soul inside of you actually is. They will tell you inside of the story of Noah. They will tell you inside of the story of Melchizedek, the story of what do you call it? Enoch. They will tell you all these particular stories, and they always mention that these people can live up to 800 to 900 years. 800 to 900 years. But after Marduk became the king, he changed that particular principle. He misaligned you after you've forgotten who you are. He changed the particular frequency about you being able to refresh yourself when the lunar cycle comes into being. Because from childhood, there's a particular stage that you will hit before you get into adolescence. If you get into the adolescent age, that is when your hormones, there's a particular cell inside of you that has an infinite regenerative property. And this particular cell exists right inside of your lungs. Okay, it exists inside of your lungs. And this particular cell dies when you reach to poverty or puberty. Okay, it shuts down completely because when you get to puberty, that is when your emotion becomes wild. That is when you become unpredictable. That is when you begin to feed on these particular negative emotions and negative food and negative society indoctrination. That there's nothing more important inside of this world apart from you chasing after material gain. Money is the most important thing. If you have money, you have respect. That is Jimmy. I know that Jimmy. No. So the system was created by this guy. All the systems that you are suffering under today was created by this guy. So that particular cell inside of you, when you get to puberty, you were supposed to be channeled. Okay, your parents were supposed to teach you how to register that particular energy with the coming frequency of the sun. You could rebirth. You can reborn. When you reborn, every single cell that died inside of you, by the way of proper briefing, you can recycle your life and become a newborn again. That is what raising of the Christ consciousness is. It isn't about ascending into the heavens and going and meeting Jesus. It's about building heaven on earth by understanding that your energy has a use inside of this particular world. And if you don't learn to use the melanin, these people will extract it. These less people will extract it and then they will use it for material gain. They are going to use your consciousness for material gain. Okay? So this particular cell that exists inside of you, you have the ability to reboot it. Okay, you can reboot it when you get to adolescent age and then you don't reboot it. If you get to the break between adolescent age and then adulthood, that is when it begins to come again. That energy will begin to come in its fullest intensity because you are not just talking about the Christ consciousness that is descending from the heavens. No, you are talking about the solar movement of the sun. Okay, you are doing that in correspondence with the rotation of the sun. The sun they call Nibiru. Okay, the sun they call Nibiru. We were able to understand this particular rotation of Nibiru in a particular context that has never been told in your life before. We were able to decode Nibiru and understand tomorrow when Nibiru will be or where Nibiru will be. Okay, so we understood all this particular knowledge and then we encoded it into a particular simple form for everybody to practice. When it reaches to that particular month, it becomes like Ramadan, the holiest month. Okay, so that particular month, you are to abstain from every negativity. You are to abstain from every wrongdoing that you are doing. And then you are going to focus more on the solar essence so that you can renew your life. You can become young again. So that you keep pumping up until you feel like you are tired of this particular physical reality or your skin deterioration comes into an end and then you reincarnate. It's simple like that. Okay? It was very simple. But this particular cell is killed by fat. The consumption of fat. You like to eat sweet things, it kills it. You like to eat things that are very delicious. These particular heavy foods, it kills it. When you get to puberty, that is when your food, okay, you eating food becomes very big. You want to eat. If you get 5 bowls of banku, it will not even push you anywhere. You want 10 to 15, and you keep doing that. You keep doing that. So Marduk went and then realigned the stars. He changed Nebru's position. He took that particular knowledge from you. And even if Nebru comes back, if Nebru rotates and then comes back to the earth grid, that is when you begin to see two suns. Okay, if it completes its complete rotation and then it returns back to this particular world, that is when you see two suns in the sky. Okay, there were two suns and there were two moons. This guy destroyed one of the moons. This guy destroyed one of the moons. Okay. And he brought down his own knowledge and his own indoctrination. He came and picked the very information that we wrote down, the very information that we encoded down. He sees every form of knowledge from the blackheads. That's how he describes you, the blackheads. He describes you as the blackheads. Okay. So he took that particular knowledge from us and then he twisted that particular knowledge due to your forgetfulness and then presented you in this particular form. Without your awareness, you are always going to be reading and translating it directly without understanding any deeper context of what Christ is. You will be a follower of Jesus because Jesus is your jailer. This particular name, Jesus, this particular murder, this particular Zeus is your jailer. He has turned this particular world into a prison system. A prison system that no soul is allowed to exit. You can't leave. Because to leave this particular realm is about you living out of the matrix, you going outside of the matrix. And the only way to go outside of the matrix is to break the seal that has been placed on you. You have to break the seal. He took the tablets of destinies and then he put a spell on it. And from the corpse of Kingu, that is when he fashioned these particular clones. That is when he created his own people. And his own people is the one running the affairs of this world. They are the first people to tell you that they've discovered nuclear energy through the information that they got from your ancestors. They've been studying that. They've been trying to decode those ones for forever. And they've not even scratched it. They've not even scratched it a bit. So every form of information that is outside there, don't ask us where we are getting the information. We remember. We remember. Which book can I refer to? Which book are you speaking from? What I know doesn't exist in books. I don't read books. Most I just go to YouTube and then I watch what they are saying and I speed it up in 2x because the book is so big for me. Like it's full of shit. I can't read a book. I can't spend time reading the entire book. Do you understand? You need to know where the Quran and then the Bible originated from. It originated from this particular person. Okay. It originated from this particular person. When you look at where Mesopotamia is, okay, the description of ancient Mesopotamia is between the land between two rivers, the Tigris and then the Euphrates. This particular two rivers is the representation of your veins and then your arteries. Where your veins and then your arteries meet, that is where the heart is. The heart is Mesopotamia. That was where the ancient kingdom of the Annunaki, they first established it. Look, it's common sense. Okay? That was where they established their civilization. Do you understand this simple thing? So inside of yourself is the representation of what they tell you about these particular two rivers are. And the meeting point of it is where they call Iran today. They call it Iran. Okay? They call it Iran because Marduk became the king of Mesopotamia. Marduk became the god of Mesopotamia. He became the supreme deity. And that is who you are worshiping. That is who is always demanding the sacrifice of your firstborns. That is the guy. We are going to get there. Okay? When I get to Marduk and we are talking about Mesopotamia, I will interpret it and then you understand. Okay, you understand every single thing. But for now, I want us to take things very easily, step by step, so that the understanding will sink. You will get the deepest comprehension. This is not just a story that is being told. It's a mystery that is being decoded. Okay. You can DM me afterwards. If you are serious to awaken, then I will give you the beginning steps. But every single kind of awakening is always a personal journey, depending on how dedicated that you are to yourself, how patient that you are to listening to yourself. That is how fast you will get to awaken. Because most of you actually think like, oh, it will take 5 days, it will take 7 days, or it will take just some 2 weeks and I'll be able to awaken. That is not how it is. When you put expectations to it, you can do it your entire life. Okay, you can do it the entire life and awakening will never find you. If you put desperation into it, forget it. Okay, look at the monks. Look at the monks. The monks spend their whole life from them being born inside of this world. They just dissociated themselves from material world. They don't want the material world and they are more focused on seeking enlightenment, inner enlightenment. But some of them came and even died, but they are not able to attain that. And you are getting it very cheap and you are playing with it. You are getting it very cheap and you are playing. So from Enki and then Enlil. Okay. from Enki and then Enlil, when Anu usurped the throne, when Anu take the throne from his father or from his predecessors, which is the black people, when he took the throne, he understood clearly that the black people were so rigid because when it comes to experimentation on things that dealt with the soul, that was something that ancient Kemet or the dark skin we never do. Okay? We never go against the principles of nature. Now, okay, we never went against the principle of nature. So when they came, they wanted to experiment. They wanted to understand the heart. They wanted to experiment on the heart. They wanted to experiment and then to discover things. Curiosity is something that is good. But when you overstep boundaries, then that is when you begin to pollute the fresh oceans. You begin to kill Apsu. That is them telling you Enki killed Apsu. That is what it is. Enki was the innovative one, the one that contained a certain amount of wisdom that allowed him to perform his experiments. You understand? So this particular experiment led to Enki wanting to create the perfect human being. He wanted to create the perfect human being, a human being without flaw. Okay. So if you if you think about it very simply, okay, you understand that when it comes to the birth of who Marduk is, they will tell you that Marduk had a mother and the mother's name is in two particular forms. The mother's name is in two different forms. The first form of the name of the mother is Ninhosak. Ninhosak is the goddess of fertility, the goddess of the earth. She is Tiamat's descendant. That is the sister of one of the Anunnakis. So it's always like a sister and then a wife kind of situation. And then they'll call the next one's name Damkina. Damkina is the next one that even if you research on her, you will never know who she is. You see? You will never know who she is. Because when it comes to the representation of who Damkina is, they will tell you that she was a daughter of Alalu. Alalu is Anu's father. That's what they will tell you. They'll tell you that it's Alalu. Meanwhile, it is not. Okay. They made it very clear that Enki created Marduk, but the mother, Damkina, birthed her. Enki created Marduk, but Damkina birthed her. That is a human. That is a human. A genetically engineered human. I want you to just Google the description of Marduk. Okay. Google the description of Marduk. They'll tell you that he had 4 eyes. He had 4 eyes and he had 4 ears. Marduk had 4 eyes and had 4 ears. Eyes that allowed him to interpret color in a deeper context. Ears that allowed him to pick up subtle frequencies and differentiate between 10 people inside of a room, every person with their voice. He was able to harness the energies of the 4 winds. Okay, this is the representation of the 4 winds. Okay, the 4 winds are your cardinal points. The 4 winds are your cardinal points. Marduk is in the middle. Hey, anyway. So Marduk is in the middle. So Marduk is able to harness the energies that are coming from the north. Okay. So Marduk was able to harness the energies from all 4 cranial parts of your own self. Okay. He was able to harness the energy that was coming from the north. And if you understand what the north is, I keep telling you people, the spirit started from the north and then descended down into the South Ocean. Okay. The spirit started from the north. So simply, I want you to Google the Chinese zodiacs or not. The Chinese zodiacs, the 4 Chinese emperor dragons or the 4 Chinese emperor representation of the cardinals. Okay. They'll give you 4 different kinds of celestial animals. Okay. They'll give you 4 different kinds of celestial animals. And these particular animals, each of them is a representation of a descendant from a black race. each of them. So they went and took pieces of these particular genes, added together, and then created mother. They created mother. Mother creation was Enki's greatest regret. Was Enki's greatest regret of his life. That is why he had to go back to the Garden of Eden to free these particular people that were cloned by Marduk. That is why he decided to go to the garden and tell these humans that they were under the spell of Marduk. And when some of them awakened, that was when the fight started. That was when the fight between the three bloodlines started. That was when they started. Iraq war, Iran war, Afghanistan, where and where, Bututatu, all those particular areas that they are busily killing and planting. That is the war that is happening. Have you seen them attacking Africa in any way? They are taking your resources and they are powering their wars. You are not part. You are already the sheep that is working. You are already the bull. You have no weapons. Okay? So he took a particular cell from each of these particular celestial representations and then created mother. Okay. And after he succeeded in creating mother, that is when the waters begins to change. Okay, through his experiment and then fail, experiment and then fail, experiment and then fail. That is where this guy comes in. This guy, this particular guy that you people, you keep telling that he's the origin of white people, no? Okay. This particular guy that the Muslims will tell you that Yaqub, he's the progenitor of all white species. This particular guy was one thing that helped Enki. He's a black guy. He was a descendant of the first gods. He is the one that assisted Enki able to neutralize the energy. He showed them how to neutralize the gene. Okay. Without this particular guy, there wouldn't have been white people. Without this particular guy, there wouldn't have been a white half created mind consciousness beings. Okay, so he was able to access Enki, and Enki created Marduk. Okay, so after Enki created Marduk, Mada or Tiamat begins to uproar. Okay, Tiamat is the sea, Tiamat is the ocean, Tiamat is life. Okay, Tiamat is a representation of the sea. We all came from sea. Sea man is a perfect depiction about the 80% of water inside of your own body. It's salt water. When you get sick, they put you an infusion that is normal saline. Okay? They put you on an infusion. Normal saline. They give you salt water. They tell you to drink ORS. That is you replenishing the sea salt of your own being. Okay? So you weren't worshiping these gods, you were adoring them. You were sharing a particular bond, appreciating your mother. It has nothing to do with worship. Anything that you touch blood, all these particular gods that they tell you of the first world, they never do any sacrificial blood sacrifice. They never kill any animal. It's always fruits, it's always flowers, it's always what do you call it, toffees, it's always food stuff, it's always grains, things that comes from the earth. It's always the gratification that counts, not the representation of that thing. So you never killed anything. You never killed any life to any god or goddess. It didn't happen. Let's go back. Okay. So from the creation of Marduk, Marduk came into being, and then Mother was upset. The sea was so upset that the entire creation, the fresh waters became poisonous. Due to Enki's experiment, the whole of the earth was poisoned. He couldn't understand the dangers, or he refused to see the dangers that he was causing. So he will create a bean with fish. He will create this one and see that this isn't it, and then he throw it away. You change this, and then see that this is a dog plus a cat. No, this isn't it. Let me change it. I'll put this one and this one. So he created beings that ushered in the time or the rain, as they told you in Noah. Okay. That the world was filled with so much different beings. Giants of 6 foot to 10 foot to 20 foot. Beings that can breathe fire out of their eyes, breathe this out of this. Spirits that existed in this form and in that particular form. That was Enki's experiment in his pursuit to create the perfect human being. Okay? In his pursuit to create a perfect human being. So this particular creation, after Yakub showed him how to generalize or how to present that particular gene in order to stabilize it, he was able to create Marduk. Okay. And when Marduk was manifested, Marduk wasn't part of the council. He wasn't part of Enkis. He wasn't part of Helel. He wasn't part of Anu. He was like that one particular person that is always in the gathering, but never part of the gathering. Okay. So Marduk is always here, but never part of the gathering. Okay. And with his combined awareness, with his combined keen sense of interpreting reality as having 4 eyes and being able to hear beyond the normal person, he was able to understand the entire thing and find a loophole. Okay. He was able to find a loophole on how to defeat Tiamat. He found a loophole on how to defeat Tiamat. He is already a being that goes against the natural order of things. Okay, he's already a being that goes accordingly, that goes very contrary to everything that deals with creation. Okay, so he was able to find a loop, and with this particular loop, he presented it to the council. Okay, he presented this particular loop to the council of Enki, the council of Enlil, and then the council of Anu. Okay, and the other smaller gods that were present coming up with ideas, because every time that they devised a particular idea, Tiamat ended up crashing them. Every time that they devised an idea, Tiamat ended up crashing them, because you can't use my own weapons to come and fight me and then win. So they needed something more of controversial. They needed something that goes against the principles of what she is. Okay, of what she is. So Marduk is able to find this particular loophole after he presented it to the elders, after he presented to this particular line. They became very astonished. They were like, okay, so how are we going to do this? Okay. So Marduk told them that I will take her on my own. He alone will go and then fight Tiamat. A being that all of them together, they couldn't even put a scratch on it. You are saying a smaller god. You are saying that, okay, if you go there, you can be able to defeat her. How? And then he narrated half of the story. When he told them half of what he was going to do, and then he demanded, they asked him that, what was your propositions? And his proposition was that all of Enki, all of Enlil, and all of Anu, and every other god that exists within that particular pantheon was to surrender their power to him. Okay? All the gods that existed on the second triad, all of them was to surrender their power to him. That was the only way that he could defeat Tiamat. That was what he told them. And surrendering their power, he made sure that they had to do it entire generations. Okay? They had to swear a blood oath. They have to give up a piece of their soul. They have to give up an essence that when they disobey or when they go contrary to that particular law or that particular oath that they swore never to rebel against Marduk's desires or against Marduk's descendants, this particular blood will cause them to perish. Okay? So Marduk led a trap ahead of time. That when the day comes and the descendants of Anki and then the descendants of Enlil decide to rebel against the ones that he created. Okay, when they decide to rebel against the ones that he created, then these particular beings were going to die. their entire generation will be cleaned out. Okay. So Tiamat was already on the way to come and clean all of them. Tiamat was coming to clean everybody. Tiamat was rebooting everything. So they had no choice but to accept to the demands of Marduk. Hey, my body is becoming too hot. And also fine. What is the importance of this knowledge? I can't tell you the importance of this knowledge. That is the one thing that you can know for yourself. Okay? Value varies from people to people. Okay, so you have to understand what I am giving you. Is it something that will motivate me to put much seriousness in my awakening, to remember myself so that I can free myself from the shackles, or is it something that I just have to pick it and then do whatever it is that I want with it? Okay? You have to decide that for yourself. That's good. What I'm speaking right now, if you pick that particular knowledge, you are going to trace where you came from. You understand it easily. And understanding brings awareness. So if it is something that you are seeking awareness, this is what awareness is. But when it comes to wisdom, you have to put in the practice. If you don't practice, you will not understand the Christ consciousness. And if you don't understand the Christ consciousness, this particular all kind of information is going to seem useless to you. Some of you, there is certain payment when you are able to sink into the Christ consciousness. Okay? There's payments. Loss of blood. You lose blood regularly like you are losing water. That's one. Your body temperature never will find peace. All the time you are like the sun. The energy is always burning. And the more I talk, the more it burns. Okay? From Enki all the way to Enel and all the way to Anu. These particular three triads. Okay, the first three triads. Okay. The second triad, Anu. Okay. Anu here, Enlil there, and then Enki here. They all agreed to surrender their power and then their dominion. Anu was the god of the sky. Okay. So everything that represented the heavens. And when I talk about the heavens, I'm talking about your sky. This is the heavens. From this particular place, without your even single part of your cervical spines, okay, or your cervical vertebrae, from your neck region all the way to the top represents the heavens. That is God of the sky. Okay, so to Anu's side, Anu's was to surrender every single one of control that belongs to the heavens all the way to Marduk. Okay, he was to surrender his power willingly to Marduk. It's not like I am usurping you. No, I'm just smarter than you. So I think like the smart one here should be the one that is ruling, not you people. You people couldn't come out with a way to be able to eliminate Tiamat. I am able to do that. So why should I be the one that have the brains becomes the tail when all the tail is useless? You need to sit at the tail and allow me to rule the heavens. So Anu ended up surrendering his control over the sky all the way to Marduk. Okay, so it was Enlil that was next. Enlil is the god of storms. Okay, everything that deals with stormy weathers, everything that deals with wind. Okay, everything that deals with matter. Okay, they added matter to it because when you look at storms, there's kind of storms and then winds that Enlil could generate. It can pass through solid matter. Okay, his winds was able to combine all solid matter because I made it very, very clear about what the ether energy is. I made it very clear that when it comes to the ether is bigger than the air that you breathe. Okay, so a refined air becomes etheric energy. So this particular way of him ruling the winds or him ruling the storms is about the etheric energy. So Enlil surrendered the ether part of himself, the one that allowed him to control the ether, which is your spine. Okay, I made a video about this. Okay, so your spine is what allows him to control the storms, every storm, which means every emotion that you feel. Okay. Which means that every form of emotion, be it a negative emotion or be it a positive emotion, a Lil, as the medal of the staff, is able to control these particular things. Okay, so it surrendered the control of your emotions, the control of the soul. You learn to harness, because when it comes to awakening, everyone always tells you that you need to calm the raging oceans. You need to calm the mind. You need to calm yourself. You understand? If you don't calm yourself, you are just going to be reacting to life. You are just going to be following the rules of Marduk. Okay, you will not understand how your emotions are influencing your reality, because every single one of the emotions of love, whether be it hate, whether be it envy, whether be it jealous, whether be it happiness, joy, all these particular emotions are ruled by the staff. Okay, the staff in the middle is what rules them. So if he gain control of this particular staff, he gets to control, or he gets to choose what particular kind of emotions should he broadcast for you to feel mostly. Okay. As a guy that is very bad, that is an evil guy, which type of emotions do you think he will amplify? Okay. So that is why Marduk or Elel is able to surrender that particular ability to Marduk. So he gained control of your skull and then your spinal cord, all your spine, every single one of it. He gained control of that. Okay. So it was the level with the third one, which was Enki. Enki is the god of innovation, wisdom, and the fresh waters. So this particular concept about the fresh waters, okay. The fresh waters is a representation of wisdom, because wisdom is one thing that allows you to calm the raging oceans, the seas of Tiamat, into becoming Apsu. You need to calm down, because Apsu is like them telling you that Apsu told Tiamat and then the younger gods that they were disturbing his meditation. He needed to rest. He needed to stay calm, but all the time they keep shaking him. All the time they keep shaking him. So Enki's ability as a freshwater is the wisdom that allowed him to innovate. Okay, to innovate, to be able to turn whatever it is that is of spirit into material form. Okay, so Enki developed everything that you call mathematics. Okay, Enki developed mathematics. Enki developed science. Okay, so Enki was able to understand the spirit and then turn it into matter by a way of calculation. Okay, he could harness the ability of material essence and then harness the ability of your curious nature and then turn it into innovation. That was Enki. Okay, so every weapon that they used to fight Tiamat, all the weapons that they used to fight Tiamat came from Enki. Came from Enki. So Enki decided to fashion the bow and then the net. Okay. He decided to fashion the bow and then fashion the net. The bow had the ability to shoot at a particular range that nothing can escape its target. Like if it's fired, mathematically calculated wherever it wants it to go, it hits the mark. Okay. You cannot escape from it. Because when it comes to the arrows that were used to create the bow came from all four winds: the north, the south, the east, and then the west. Okay. They harness the ability of these particular winds, these particular celestial beings, and then turn it into arrowheads. Turn it into arrowheads. So, with his amplified awareness, he can be able to contradict and understand that between Tiamat left side and then her right side, this particular part of her is where that is weak. This is the weak spot. That is the loophole that he found. Okay. So Enki was able to fashion this bow, and then the net. The net was what severed her spine. The net was nanoparticles. You guys thought nanoparticles started today. Nanoparticles started with Enki. Okay. Programmable metal. She took essence from Mother itself. She took the earth, the celestial form. I told you that the way the earth was, the earth wasn't like what it is now. There was life. Life was flowing through it. There were vines, and you can see the tree vines that was able to transmit energy between one and then the other. Enki was able to turn that particular awareness of the cells that lives inside of the trees into programmable matter. Okay. Enki was able to do that. So this particular net had the ability to either open wider or squeeze very smallly. This particular net had the ability to either expand or close. And that was the net that he gave it to Marduk. So his ability to create weapons, his ability to forge weapons and then to use it, okay? All that particular ability, mathematics, science, the bow, everything was given to Marduk. You see why this particular word, it is only his generation are the ones that are always able to tell you that every form of discovery, we are the ones going to the moon. We are the ones that are manufacturing the nuclear weapons. Only us have the nuclear arsenal. We were the first to discover fire. Do you understand? So this particular awareness of what Enki is, it became Marduk's property. So after Marduk took all these particular powers, he became the most powerful. He became Anu. He became the one thing that was bigger than Anu himself. Okay. He became something bigger than Anu himself. So instead of the storms and then the skies that Mother is able to influence the elements, Marduk, can do the same. But only this time, if Mother's own was going left, his own was going right. So it becomes like matter and then antimatter. Okay. Matter and antimatter, they don't work together. They don't work together. So he created a particular antimatter that could penetrate Mother's defense or the sea's defense to calm its rage or to kill it. They understood that when it comes to the seas, you cannot kill her. Okay, when you kill her, all reality dies and then everything just go back to giving birth again. But you can imprison her. Okay, you can imprison black people. You can imprison the ones that went with nature, the ones that were natural people. You can imprison them. But you cannot kill them. If you kill them, everything just go back to rebooting. So they needed a way to imprison you. Marduk understand that your power could be suppressed. Okay, your power could be taken from you, but your life is something that if they do it, all of them, they die together because it is from their celestial, it is from your celestial gene that they were able to stabilize their material form and then to give it a physical body. It was from your gene that Yakub was able to help Enki to devise that particular way of stabilizing their gene. Okay? So they knew they had to find a way to jail you. So Marduk headed towards war. He headed towards the battle. He went there and then they fought. The net that he was captured from, he twisted the net and then he threw it. I'm narrating the story exactly like the way the books have said it. Then you will understand where the imprisonment started from, how you lost the consciousness. Okay. So when he casted this net onto the sea, the net penetrated the sea. You see, have you ever seen any net that they casted on sea that remain on top? Now, have you ever seen any net that they went to catch fish? I told you, you are the fish. I already made that explanation long time. For you to catch a fish, you need a net. Yeah. For you to catch a fish, you need a net. So Marduk needed a net. That was one. And then he needed a bow. The bow, after he was able to distract Mama, what was the net for? When he casted the net into the sea, he caught the children of Mother. He caught the dark people, this particular melanated people. Okay. He caught the humans. Your energies wasn't as high as Mother's. And all of you was dependent on her energy. Okay. So he set a particular trap. He set a trap, knowing that Mother will come to save you, and that particular trap would mean that the net have caught the fish. This simple breakdown is understandable. He knew that if he set the bait, the hook and line, if he set the bait as the bow is what is going to be the bait. And after the bait have come, you are going to be trapped with the net. So once you are trapped with the net deals with antimatter. So every ability that you came from mother wasn't working against the net. Every ability wasn't working against the net. So mother had to move out of consciousness, to delve back into the void itself, and then to harness the raw power of the earth, and harness the raw power of the sea, harness the raw power of the skies in order to free you from that particular net. That is combining all the elements of earth, water, and then fire. Okay. It is the same elements that you are going to need when you need to awaken. It's the same elements. Okay. So mother had to close. Mother had to close. Okay. And then to delve into these particular energies and then harness the raw potent energy that could break everything. And when she went into that particular mode, that was when the loophole was created. That was when the loophole was created. And Marduk was able to strike her. Because of you people. Because of saving you, she chose to leave herself vulnerable in order to tap into this to save you. And that was how Marduk was able to penetrate her skin. Was able to penetrate her skin. And with a decisive blow, he gave Goliath a knock on the forehead. Goliath was mother's giant form. Okay? Goliath was mother's giant form. And was defeated by who? Marduk's descendant. Was defeated by Marduk's descendant. Taking the information of who the real Yeshua is and then giving it to David. So you are out there and you are like, yes, that is good. You've knocked her down. You've knocked the serpent down. You've knocked all the bully down. Mother didn't bully them. They were destroying nature. They were destroying this world. They were destroying everything. Okay. So after that particular moment, her consciousness, when he hit this particular point, Goliath lost consciousness. He lost consciousness. And that was when Marduk was able to infiltrate the nanoparticles. That was when he was able to infiltrate and started severing mother's veins. He started severing your spine, the energies. Okay. Every form of energy that represented this, represented that, represented this. Okay. He begins to cut them. He will cut this one and cut that one. He will cut this one and cut that one. Okay. So he cut all these particular vines inside of her. And then the consciousness that was connected back to you people was also separated. So the Palestinians or the Philistines or Goliath's people started scattering. When Goliath is not there, they are no longer strong. Their leader has been defeated. So they started running. The cowards started running. And Marduk started hunting them. Okay? Marduk started hunting them and killing them. He killed the strong ones, the ones that had the knowledge of who you were at the beginning. That's why he started killing us. Okay. So he destroyed the generals first. After he finished with the generals, and then he began to enslave. He was going to kill everybody. He was going to kill every single one of the dark people, the dark heads. But he was prompted by Enki that if he killed all of them, this world will not exist. If he killed all of them, this world will not exist. That was when he decided to jail you. That is when he decided to imprison you. So after severing mother's consciousness, the part of yourself that it is the medulla oblongata, this particular part, okay, this particular part of yourself is the part that holds the information It's behind your neck, this particular side. That is where was the information. And this particular information was given to Kingu. Okay, was given to Kingu. In your regular interpretation, Kingu is the one you call Thoth. Okay. One of you ask this one. Okay. That was Thoth. Kingu was Thoth. He was the holder of the tablets. The tablets of destiny was held by Thoth. Okay. So after he killed Thoth's essence, after he killed his physical material body, then he took the tablets. He took the tablets of destiny, and from the bones and then the body of Thoth's, okay, that was mothers, he began to fashion his own creation. He already had the tablets of destinies. So everything about knowledge, everything that ever existed from the very beginning, okay, Thoth is the record keeper. He's the one that keeps the record. So he knows everything from the very beginning itself. Thoth knows everything. Okay. So he took that particular energy, he took that particular part of the tablet, and then he twisted it because every form of information already exists. It's already accessible to him. So he decides who gets conscious and who doesn't. So after he took this particular tablet, he started fashioning his own creation. And that was the Garden of Eden. The Lord said, "Let there be light." And there was light. After Tiamat died, the Lord said, "Let there be light." And there was light. On the first day, he created the heavens and created the earth. He separated mother's consciousness into pieces, went up into the heavens, changed the celestial calendar. He didn't create nothing. Okay? He did not create nothing. He just twisted it. He took the original story and then he twisted it. Okay. So with the tablets of destiny in his hand, with that particular kind of information, he can do anything in this world. Okay. He can fashion anything that he wanted. So he decided to put chains on your neck. Mother's children. Okay. He decided to put chains on your neck and put chains on your legs to bind you for all eternity. Okay. The serpent, the serpent, the serpent. They will read it very clearly. That ancient serpent, that particular ancient serpent was crushed or was knocked down from the heavens. And then from that particular moment, he cannot rise back to the heavens. They described him as the morning star, the son of the dawn. That was you falling from consciousness. Oh, son of the dawn. Oh, son of the dawn. So he took that particular title of who Yeshua was. Yeshua at that time, he doesn't exist. I'm talking about Christ consciousness. Okay. He took that particular identity, the son of the mother, the son of God, the son of the mother of creation. He took that particular identity and then he gave it to himself. He gave it to himself. Okay. So from this particular tablet, he took out the information at your Torah. Okay. So he took that particular information from the tablet. Okay. From your Torah. Your Torah is your middle part of your spinal cord. Okay, in your thorax exists 12 branches. 12 different vertebrae makes up the thoracic vertebrae. That was when he fashioned religion. That was the beginning of Christianity. Okay, he took that particular information from your thorax, the missing DNA. Okay, the missing DNA. He took your part of the thorax, the 12 representation of yourself, and then he turned the information upside down. Created Jesus had 12 apostles. Jesus had 12 apostles. The middle part of the consciousness had 12 apostles. The middle part of yourself had 12 apostles. It's from Torah, it's from Tot, it's from Tot. Okay, so it's from the Torah that he got the Torah that you people have today as the Bible, the Old Testament. You are busy saying that this was God, this was what God says, and I made it very clear. You need to take a step backwards. Okay, you need to take a step backwards. The Torah, Islam believe in the Torah, Christian believe in the Torah. That was where they got the Torah from. The Torah is from your 12. Every information about your 12 vertebrae. I'm going to take the time. That is why I told you people to go and tag my big Greece on the YouTube channel. Go and tag it plenty, because this particular kind of information, I don't want to reveal it in a particular level that it will not reach many ears in this world. I want everybody to understand what this particular Torah is, what this particular spine, the angels that move up and they move down. I want to take the time to explain each of them for you to understand in depth. Okay? Yeah. So when it came to the Torah, that is what all religion, the Abrahamic religion, came from. Apart from the Abrahamic religion, which other religion do you see them having Bible, having Quran? They are always telling stories that makes it look like, no, these beings don't exist. They are always talking about dragons. They are always talking about nymphs. They are always talking about fairies. They are all the other religions that exist. None of them is in seclusion. None of them is speaking about something that deals with the breakage of the 12. They are doing their own thing. Okay, that was from these particular houses. Okay, these particular houses, the descendants of Ham started creating the Bible. Okay, the one you call the Canaanites. So they took Kemet, the Kemet that was previously occupied by black people, the Kemet that was previously occupied by 93 people. He created his people and they became Kemet. So they became the Pharaoh. They changed the name from Kemet all the way to Egypt. And that was down, 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 Krasef. Okay, that is down, down, down. So he fashioned his people, and Pharaoh began to imprison the people of the original people that they call you the Israelites. He begins to enslave them. So all the people that were in Libya were black. All the people that were in Kush, they were black. All the people that were Nubians, they were black. All the people that existed in this particular Ethiopia, Armenia, Arcadia, Amorites, Anatolia, all these particular beings, they existed a black consciousness in each particular part of Mary's being. Okay. So whenever they create a new being that is of this particular descent, it's like posting somebody. They will go to that particular place that black people are. The land doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to us. Your water doesn't belong to you. Your animals, livestock doesn't belong to you. You yourself doesn't belong to you. You belong to us. And those that fought against them were killed. So all the battles that they told you about them invading or all the, look, go back there and retrace it. You will understand the story fully. Tiamat is Neturu, right? When you are talking about Neturu, hey, you want me to start saying things. Okay. When you are talking about Netru, you are talking about Where should I write this? Okay. When you are talking about Netru, you are talking about the people that occupy the great city. Should I say? Okay. So let me put. I don't like usually using names. Okay. So the Netru and then the Viscan, they all came from mother. Okay, they all came from mother. I told you that in the beginning, when you started descending down from color, you didn't just existed as a black skin. No, all the colors. There were people that were totally red. Go to the Mayan civilization, you will see people like that. There were people that were totally green. Go to the Netru and then the Riskians, you will see something like that. Go back to the blue people, the avians, you will see people like that. All these particular consciousness is inside of your spinal cord. Okay? All these ones that you call aliens, they are inside of your spinal vertebrae. I want to break that on Mami Grace's show. Can you understand? Okay. You understand? You didn't just lose the pigmentation of the color green. Okay. You became black. You became denser. You became black totally. All the Riskians, all the Neteru, all the avians. Okay. Every single one of you, all the Syrians, all of you became dark. Okay, you were disconnected from mother primal consciousness. So the ancestors or your other half or the other part of yourself that existed on the outside that they usually come into the water or come to inside this world through the waters, it was blocked and they made sure that you will never see the outside and they never come inside. Okay, and they made sure that you couldn't go outside and they couldn't come inside. So he turned all these particular behemoths, all these particular titans that holds the responsibility of the four corners of the world, he turned them into weapons. That's like Godzilla and then the rest. They are making movies and they're showing you. Okay? He turned it all into weapons. He weaponized them. You look at the sign of monarch. In the movie, if you watch it, look at the sign of monarch. Monarch is like this. This is the same thing as an 8. This is your missing DNA. This is your missing DNA. So these particular people, an organization that was formed to make sure that you doesn't know what the titans are. Okay, so these particular families that are in constant war with each other, they also decided to genetically engineer these particular titans. So every war that is happening on this planet is from these particular 3 families. Noah's children. Okay? Noah was the knower, the one that knows, the one that awakens. I'll take the time to tell you the art, okay? I'll take the time to show you the art. Okay? So this was your DNA. This is your missing DNA. So you see the titans that they show you, Godzilla, Monster Zero, all the rest. When Monster Zero awakened, what was the first thing that particular titan did? Okay. Every single titan on the sea obeyed Monster Zero. That's Tiamat. Okay. She had the ability to restart the world, to finish what she couldn't finish. She wanted to restart everything. Godzilla is balance. Okay. Godzilla is you people. You have the ability to destroy all. You have the ability to save. But you never get involved in their quarrels. When Godzilla comes for a fight, after the fight, he goes back to sleep. If anything starts destroying the planet, that is when he comes up. He never comes up for any other reason. Okay. Godzilla never comes up for any reason apart from a life-threatening beast or a monster that was trying to destroy the world. That is the only time he comes inside. Godzilla is the one thing that they cannot control. Okay. Godzilla is aware. All the titans, they are aware. King Kong, Great Mbaku, the great gorilla, the Monkey King. All this isn't story, so you guys don't know. Was Tiamat the one that caused the flood? No, it was this guy. It was this guy. Whether you see him as Marduk, whether you see him as Zeus, he was the one that caused the flood. These people, they devolved, okay? With his creation, they devolved. He created beings that he lost control. So without common sense or without foresight, they began devouring each other's flesh. Okay, wrong 10. Wrong 10. If you watch the wrong 10 before, they started devouring each other's essence. And up until now, there's still a movie that came out recently. After 21 days, or that's the title. It's on Netflix. Okay. They started devouring each other's flesh. And that was when he decided to wipe them clean. He decided to clean them. They can always be created. Okay. When you look at one of the stories, they made it very clear when it came to him saving one of the Greeks. Okay, one of the Greeks. In the Greek mythology, he saved a man and then his wife only. He saved a man and his wife only. And after he led them into Turkey, or he led them to the mountain Ararat, that was when they asked a question that how are they going to repopulate the world? The two of them only, they can't have sex enough to repopulate the world. And that was when the oracle told them that they should pick rocks. This one should pick a rock and then pick a bone. Okay? Pick a rock and pick a bone and throw it over their shoulders, and then it will become people. That is cloning. You are picking rock, the essence of Thoth, the essence of Mother Tiamat. You are picking the essence of the earth, and you are adding it with a rib, a DNA of someone that already exists in your bloodline to create another person. So the people on the wife side were all women, and the people on the man side were all men. And then they started procreating again. You see? Madak is like your great, 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 great grandson. Okay. Madak is like your great, great, great grandson. From this place, this is Madok's father, this is Madok's father. Before this particular place exists a pantheon of celestial beings. Those were this one's father. Before those were another father. And before those were Tiamat. So you are the grandchildren of these particular gods. And then he is like your son. Madak is a child. He can never create dark-skinned people. Right now, he's trying to clone you. They are slowly cleaning you. They want your body. Okay. They want to survive the curse. Because they fought and then broke the oath, all of them are going to die by the sun. The sun is going to kill them. The Son of God is going to kill them. They can't live in the sun. They are not human. They are human. So all their efforts trying to say we are trying to leave this world. We are trying to go to somewhere and discover a different world. That is what they are doing. They are trying to leave this particular planet before the sun fully returns. Before the Christ consciousness awakens. If you people awaken, it will become trouble. Okay. If you people were to awaken, trouble. But it is just going to repeat the same symphonies. Okay. That is why I advise you that you need to gain awareness. You need to become like Godzilla. You need to know when to destroy and when not to. If not, if your abilities return right now, most of the ones that are awakened, if your abilities return back right now, you are going to start killing them. Okay. You are going to wipe them clean again. And then it is from them now that they are also going to get one particular mistake again to start repopulating. And before you know, they'll come back and kill you again and then imprison you. So it is going to be something like an endless cycle of reincarnation. Okay. So you can only break this particular cycle when you learn to understand balance. Don't hate them. No. Don't hate white people. Don't hate pale skin. No. When you hate them, you are hating yourself. Okay, you are hating your great grandchild. Okay. So don't hate them. Among them are bad ones. Among them are good ones. So you are going to support the good ones to understand, like Prometheus, giving the fire to them. You need to awaken. You need to reach out. They need to come and then learn. Some of them that have already awakened to a certain level, they understand the way of balance. So when the time comes, they are going to separate themselves from the rest of the flock, okay, from the rest of the entire human, and then the sun is going to eliminate them. They are going to just puffing like balloons. Okay? They are going to be puffing like balloons. Nibiru is coming back. The other planet that is an entire star is fire, is a sun. Radiation doesn't affect black people. If you are having radiation on your skin, there is so much nanoparticles inside of your body. Radiation doesn't affect you. You eat radiation. Have you ever seen Godzilla say, I'm afraid of radiation? Okay. It is the artificial manufactured weapon. What percentage? Okay. It is the artificially manufactured weapon that is able to knock him out of consciousness. That is like them trying to tell you about what happened to Mother. Okay, the weapons that Mother created that went against celestial law. Okay, so they are trying to tell you the same thing. If you are feeling the heat, if you are feeling like, oh, this particular heat, yeah, it's normal, it's painful, it's something that is weird. Yeah, we want this heat to pass. But the sun up there is something entirely different. Okay, this particular sun coming back, this Nibiru coming back, because they made it very clear that people live inside the sun. There are people that live inside of the sun. That is Nibiru. Okay. That is Nibiru. So the sun is going to rotate back. Okay. So in this particular world, I'm almost done with this. So let me clean this part. So this is Earth. Okay, this is Earth. This particular planet is Earth. When it comes to the rotation of Nibiru, Nibiru is somewhere here. Okay, let me get this. Okay, this is our sun. This is the sun that exists on this particular Earth, and this is the sun of Nibiru. Okay, this is the sun of Nibiru, and this is our sun, the sun that is up there. So this particular sun is going to keep rotating. It's going to keep moving. It's going to keep moving. And when it hits a particular alignment directly to Earth, okay, when it gets to a particular point directly to Earth, every form of energy that is going to be here is going to be awakening your abilities. Your DNA is going to be shattered. It is going to awaken you. That's the return of the Holy Ghost. Nebiru is the ghost. Nebiru is the Holy Ghost. The ghost that doesn't exist here, but it keeps circling this particular solar system. That is the Holy Ghost. So the return of the Holy Ghost is about you awaken the Christ consciousness, and then when the sun returns, then you become fully awakened. Your abilities are going to manifest. Okay? Don't ask me when is this going to happen. I'll not mind you. Okay? So when Nibiru finally cycles back to Earth, awakening is going to happen in great numbers. Your abilities is going to start manifesting. That is why you need to clean the temple. That is why you need to get rid of the excess mucus. That is why you need to separate yourself from the devil. That is why you need to understand what you are before this particular energy circles back. Because if it cycles back to this place, it doesn't matter if you are black, if you are gray, if you are yellow, if you are pink. If your temple isn't clean, your faith is the same thing as humans. Your faith is going to be the same thing as humans. You are going to share the same faith. Yeah. Your jobs right now is to awaken. Awaken the Christ consciousness. Awaken the dragon that has been down into this place. The dragon that was hit from the heavens and then it fall down onto the earth. You need to awaken the dragon. The dragon is imprisoned. Okay. You need to shatter the dome and then awaken the dragon so the dragon can fly back into heaven. Mother can go back. Mother can awaken. Tiamat can come back. Tefiti can come back. Asasiya can awaken again. Okay. When Asasiya awakens, then the sun returns. The sun returns to the mother. And when the sun returns to the mother, her children is going to be in a glorious day. It's going to be a day that you've never seen before. That is what is going to happen. Most of you want to awaken powers. You want to awaken powers. When they tell you to fast, okay? When they tell you to fast and then to connect, to ground yourself, you'll be like, this is too much. If you want to start the practice, go to my YouTube channel. Learn about the energy centers. Learn about your fear. Learn about your regret. Learn about your self-blame. Learn about your guilt. Learn about the illusion and then ascend back into the higher self. Awaken from the illusion of this world. Okay, those are your 7 chakras. I've taken the time and I've broken them down into pieces, smaller, 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 that everybody can understand. Even if you don't understand English, the doctor has translated it into 3. You can listen and then you will understand. Okay, then you get into practice. Because if you are looking at everybody else and wanting to be like everybody else, your faith is just like them. Okay, you were born here alone. So if your awakening isn't as important as anything in life for you, then you are assigning to this particular faith and the sun will burn you. Your body cannot contain the Holy Ghost when it returns. When the Holy Ghost returns, the planet that doesn't exist, when it returns back, your body cannot keep the energy that it will be coming. So you will die. So all the filth, okay, all the dirty things, all the filthy things inside of this world, they are about to be purged out. They know this. That is why they are trying to go to space. They know that this guy is coming back. They know that they cannot stop this from coming back. But they can escape. So they try their ways to escape this thing. You cannot go anywhere. So Mother Sophia is the wisdom. Sophia is the Christ consciousness. Sophia is about you awakening, understanding the middle part of yourself. The 8, the disconnected 8, the Torah. It's about you understanding the books that you were given. The Torah that was given to you by religion. It's about you interpreting and understanding them enough to awaken Sophia. When Sophia awakens, all illusions, okay, every form of illusion that they are using to jail your sixth sense, which is your pineal gland, okay, that is why most people, they are more material than they are of spirit. They don't want spiritual things. They are more involved in give me money, give me the bag. I want the bag. There's nothing important in this world than the bag. I need the bag. When you are needing the bag, your faith is just as every other human inside of this world. That day, money is not going to buy you anything. Okay? That day, money is not going to buy you anything. Beauty is not going to buy you anything. Handsomeness is not going to buy you anything. Your soul will speak for you. Okay? So Sophia is the consciousness of what Christ is. When you awaken Sophia, you begin to see beyond the illusion. You begin to be like, ah, so this is what this guy has done. This is what this guy has done. You've escaped the matrix. And all you have to do is start cleaning the temple and then waiting for this particular ghost to return. That's all. We are waiting for the ghost to come back. And we'll see who is who. Whether this planet belongs to us or it belongs to them, we will see. Yes, Mother Tiamat will be back when you people are awakened. It's like Moana. Okay, it's like Moana. When you people are able to return her soul, your soul, when you are able to awaken the soul, then Tiamat will awaken again as the fresh seas. She's going to make all the plants, the lands, everything that was dead before will rise again. Okay. Now, it's something that when I saw it, I was like, okay, is this possible? Ah. But check about it. Yes, it is the same thing as the Kundalini awakening. The Kundalini awakening is the dragon that is rising up again. The serpent is rising up again. Your Kundalini energy that has been jailed in this particular place, okay, is beginning to rise back into the heavens again. There is nothing evil about this. Okay, this is the information that the Levites, that is from the descendant of Ham, those people that are supposed to be the priests or the churches, and then the Malams, those are from the tribes of Levites. Okay, so the Levites are supposed to be the one to be telling you the truth. So if they are not telling you the truth, if the pastor is saying you need to go to school to go and learn about God, to understand God, that pastor is not a Levite. He's not an anointed one. He's not chosen. The house of Levite was chosen for the prophethoodship. Okay, the house of Levite were chosen purposely for the distribution of understanding and creating awareness. They were the only family that wasn't working. The rest of the families were working, and every annually they contribute something to that particular house so that they can stay spiritual and then keep informing you. When you have a problem with fear, you go there and then you consult and then they take you and then you go. They give you means that you can go to and then to overcome. Okay, when you go there with anger, when you go there with hatred, you don't know how to overcome this. I'm here to confess, I'm here to confess. That is what they are supposed to be doing. They are supposed to give you the methods of you grounding yourself so that you can release this particular energy. Is that what the church is doing? Baru, that is what I said. Mother Tiamat will be back when you people cleanse the soul. When you clean the soul, the earth will be reborn. Mother Tiamat is the same thing as Gaia. Her anger is because she has lost the soul. She has lost the fresh waters. Okay, so you people need to bring back the heart. You need to awaken. Like Moana, you are on a mission to awaken the earth. Okay, when she comes back, everything will be rebooted. Everything will go back even better than it was in the beginning. Okay, so as I see her, Tiamat, all Tefiti, all of them, they are one particular entity. Mother Gaia, they are all one. It's the same person. Mother Sophia is connected to Tiamat. Yes, I told you the descension of consciousness. Okay. Tiamat comes Lamu, Laamu, Kisha, Ansha. Those are the representation of what it means of to be Sophia. Sophia is the wisdom. Okay. Where was I this time? I'm mainly influenced by the consciousness of you people. Okay? That is who I am. Okay? I'm mainly influenced by the level of consciousness that you people are able to grow. That is all I can tell you. Okay? The YouTube channel is Woke Unlimited Studios. Woke Unlimited Studios. Okay? Somebody should write it there. Somebody is already saying that they are flash. You love abilities, power. You will get it, you get bored of it. Okay? You will get bored. Okay, Michael, you are asking about crystals and then amulets. The one I'm wearing is clear quartz. Okay, these are clear quartz. Okay, they have a neutral form of energy. Depending on your mood, they can stabilize it if only you yourself can channel in the energy. Okay, copper too is very great. That's why I wear them. Copper amplifies the electric flow inside of your own system. Okay, it will cause rapid increase of energy that travels from your crown all the way to your feet. It will allow you to be able to release the energy very easily when you are angry, when you are sad, when you are hateful, when you are jealous, when you are envious of someone. Just take a very deep breath, bring yourself back to the mood, and tell yourself that it isn't necessary. Release that particular energy back to the earth, and let yourself understand that that person that you envy, that person that you feel jealous of, is the same thing as you. Okay? So what they are trying and they are getting, if you also feel it deeply within yourself that you could experience the same thing, you will have it. But it is not necessarily about you envying somebody. Okay, so you can have quartz. Okay, you can buy quartz or you can get the copper and then quartz crystal as a form of a moon energy or a form of a magnetizing energy, and then you have the copper as a form of electric energy. So your entire being becomes balanced. Okay. The thing is that why I don't usually recommend this particular wearing of crystals and then the amulets is simply the fact that when it comes to your energy, you need to understand what it means to be balanced first before you begin amplifying these particular energies. If you just go out today, you haven't started any grounding, you haven't started any work, and then you started wearing crystals and all these particular coppers, what it does is that it is going to be amplifying the energy. Okay? And the more that the energy is amplified, it is just going to be heating. Okay, this is your fear. Okay, this is your fear. So it is just going to be hitting the fear, hit the fear, hit the fear, hit the fear. So instead of it healing this particular fear, it is going to be amplifying it. Okay, it is going to be amplifying it. You are going to be more afraid. You are going to be more anxious. So you end up feeling like this isn't working. Is this what spirituality is? So take your time, separate yourself from everything, eliminate the body. When you begin to feel very lean or when you begin to lose a lot of mass inside of your body, that you are able to find peace and calm, despite all the insults from people, despite all the treatment from your family, despite all the things that you are going through, you are able to understand that you are doing it personally for yourself. Because when the Holy Ghost returns, these particular people and you are going to be entirely two different people. Okay, so you will not be bothered by their actions. And that day we will see who is going to heaven and who is going to go to hell.